Hello and welcome to the second tutorial video on the Wi-Fi stepper. What we're going to cover today is the settings page. So at this point we've already connected a motor, we've powered the board, we've connected to the access point, and we've pointed our browser to 192.168.4.1. So if you haven't done that already, the first tutorial video called Quick Start will get you to this point. So the first configuration pane here is where you configure the Wi-Fi connection. So you can select different modes. By default, it's an access point, and the SSID starts with WSX100-AP, and the last 6 digits are the MAC address, the last 3 bytes of the MAC address. And there's no password. If you want a password, you can click enable and then type in a password. You can also connect to a station, which means that this board is going to be a node on the network, and there's an access point, your home access point, that you're going to connect to. The next settings cover the browser and services. So you can specify the host name, you can specify whether MDNS is enabled, and MDNS lets you connect to the instead of the IP address, you can just type in the hostname .local in the URL, and depending upon the browser and if your computer supports MDNS, you won't need to know the IP address. So this setting here, HTTP, lets you enable or disable the HTTP server on the Wi-Fi stepper. You need the HTTP server running if you want to use this interface or the quick start interface. Additionally, if you want to use the RESTful interface, that requires HTTP, or the WebSocket interface. If you want to have a password for the HTTP interface, you can set that here. This will pop up a little window that makes you log in. It's not very secure in terms of encryption, but it provides some level of protection against unauthorized access. So this setting here, the low-level interface, is the raw TCP socket interface that Python uses. You can secure it using the crypto chip, and that's one of these settings here. You can have standard only, which is not, the communication isn't hashed and isn't verified. Crypto feature requires that you set an authentication key, which we'll cover in a minute. And then standard plus crypto means that you can have, you can optionally have the crypto, but you don't need it. You can communicate over the standard interface as well. Arduino OTA is a way to reprogram the board without needing to plug into it. And that's supported by the Arduino environment. It's disabled by default. The next set of configuration options cover MQTT. So you can specify a server to connect to, and this is the message broker server. You can optionally specify a username and password. The state topic is the state of the motor, and you can specify the topic path and how often to publish. By default, it's every 10 seconds. The command topic is what the Wi-Fi stepper will listen to for commands. And both of these are JSON objects, and you can find out more information on wifistepper.com as to the proper format and what you can expect from the state and how to format the commands. The next set of configuration options covers daisy chaining. What you can do if you have multiple Wi-Fi stepper boards, you can connect them together over the high-speed serial bus, and you can have one interface control multiple stepper motors. And this is useful, for example, if you have multiple axes that you want to control synchronously. Daisy chaining will be covered in a future video, but to get you started, you can see the documentation here. The next set of configuration options cover the crypto authentication. By default, the crypto chip that's built on the board doesn't come configured or provisioned in any way. It's blank. So if you're going to use the crypto option with the low-level interface, you'll need to supply a master key and an auth key and then provision the chip. What this will do is it will create two key entries on the chip. The master key will encrypt the auth key. So you'll only need the auth key for the crypto secured communication in the low-level interface. However, if you want to change the auth key, you'll need to know the master key. So the master key is a permanent write once only key, and the auth key is locked behind the master key. So if you want to change the auth key, you'll need to know the master key. So moving on, this panel here covers different security level recommendations. So you can specify that you want, let's say, medium security, and it'll give you some recommendations, and it'll actually tell you what medium security means. And high security, obviously, most of the things are turned off, and only the really secure interfaces are enabled. And you can kind of poke around here and see what they mean and test different things out. So the last configuration setting, so periodically there will be firmware updates for the Wi-Fi Stepper, and you can download them on WiFiStepper.com, and then you'll just have to click this button here and upload the new image, and then you'll have the latest features. So this has been a quick overview of the settings page of the Wi-Fi Stepper. Thanks, and see you next time.